Good morning. So today is Tuesday. I got my little rugrat off to school for her first day. Today's L&M's first day back. So it was a little rough getting started, but we got out the door. We got to school on time, so it's a mommy win. I win today. Actually, I think the kids were really excited to. I know Muscatine went back yesterday. I think the kids were all excited to get back into that routine. As weird as that sounds, I think it's nice to have that routine and kind of that normalcy back. So we got that accomplished. I'm feeling like an accomplished mom already this morning for getting her to school on time on the first day back after a long break. So I'm going to take that as a win. All right, so we have a super cool guest today. I think it's going to be interesting. I think you guys are going to love just to hear about all of the stuff that they do at MUSCOM. But before that, I want to share with you the national holidays and this day in history. So today, National Bird Day. I tried to find a funny bird video for you guys, and it was a lot harder than I expected. I couldn't find one that made me like giggle, so I'm not even going to show you that. But I did. It's also National Whipped Cream Day, and I did find a funny video for you. A couple little kids did a challenge with whipped cream, and I thought it was pretty cute. So I think you'll think it's cute too. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys that for National Whipped Cream Day.
Hi, we're the Dykes family. We have been challenged by our best year yet to do the whipped cream challenge. We challenged the Orgel family.
Okay, here we go.
Me go first. What's my favorite food? Meat. No.
What was it, Seth?
Mac and cheese. Oh man! Ah! Okay, that was funny. It's getting in my nose. Clay, what is my favorite food? Noodles. Nope. Pizza. It's pepperoni pizza. Look, the whole thing! The whole thing in her face! Where would I like to go on vacation? Hawaii? Yeah! Oh! Where would I like to go on vacation, Clay? China. Yes! Brazil.
Clay, you can use your hand. Use your hand.
That was funny! Now that was funny! Look, you can run the whole plate into the side of the Well, you got some on the leg. What's my first crush, Steven? Is it Gerald? Yeah. Oh! Who was my first crush? No one. Nope. Lexi. Ah! Lexi. That was. You, McCoy, get it on your side. You're getting me whipped creamy. Whipped creamy. Whipped creamy. What's my favorite movie? Barbie and the Nutcracker? No! What was it? It was Sheila.
No, it was what?
Sheila.
Aristocat.
Oh yeah,
You cheater!
No, that's it. Still don't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Boy, what is my favorite movie? What's that name?
Which one?
That had that Jaeger in it?
Oh,
You got it right.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, Pacific Rim. She's nice. What's my favorite animal? Cat. Coy, what is my favorite animal? Dragon. Nope. Scariest crocodile. Oh no. It went all the way back there, guys. I am strong. Like crap. I want it's barely going. No, me.
Look at William.
What do I want to be when I grow up? She's up? No. I wanted to be a cat like Jaguar. Yeah. Oh man, it's my second time dying. Look at me. What do I want to be when I grow up? A diver. Nope. An NFL football player. Thanks for yeah. Let's say very kind of turquoise. No. What is it? It was black. Oh. Dang it. No. Yes. It has to be in my hand. Oh man, my hand. Hi, thanks for the Brady. Yeah. No more. Wait, what is my favorite color? Turquoise.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Funny stuff. Seriously, I think that National Whipped Cream Day could be a lot of fun, but you have to be as fun as a kid. So I don't know how many of you guys will be grabbing the whip topping and playing this game after work, but if you do, I'd love to see videos of that, or pictures at least. But super funny. My favorite part about the video is definitely when the little brother comes up and just starts like eating it off their faces and then off the garage. He's like, I don't care. I'll eat this right off the garage. It doesn't matter to me. Super fun. Kids are fun. And what better video than that on National Whipped Cream Day? So enjoy yourselves. At least eat some today. This day in history, which is sponsored by Lutheran Living, our friends over there, such a huge amount of history that lives inside that building, but they sponsor this day in history on the show every day. And I thought it was really interesting when I was going through some of the things that had happened on this day in our history. One of the ones that I found was that Ford started paying $5 per day. And I was like, oh my gosh, just like thinking about that and thinking about, I mean, now we get paid way more than that per hour, and to think that that was the daily wage. And it was like insane. People went crazy when they found out that Ford was gonna start paying $5 per day. It was like, it was unheard of at that time, and it was literally like, I think, doubling the current wages. But thousands of people would line up to try to get a job when before they were having a hard time because it's such a monotonous job where you're doing the same thing over and over again. But that was a pretty cool this day in history from Ford. But also, Mr. Ed made the big debut on this day in history in 1961. That is when our friend Mr. Ed made his debut on TV, and who would have thought we'd have a talking horse, but he was so darn cute. So there he is up in the corner for you guys, Mr. Ed. All right, so I want to get to our guest. So I have Chris today here with me, and he is actually from MUSCOM, or 911, as most of you guys know. So first of all, what's your job? What's your job at MUSCOM? Because you kind of recently changed roles, not recently, but
it was about
kind
a
of
year and a half ago. I
Oh
took
my
over
gosh.
as I know.
A year and
I
a
took
half?
over as the 911 communications manager. So I oversee the dispatch center as well as all the radios, tower sites within the entire county.
Wow.
All the computers and Wi-Fi devices and all the squad cars, ambulances.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all
That's
the
a
communications
lot.
basically for the county.
Any communication, and that's huge. I mean, obviously, he's
It
like,
is.
yeah. If communication doesn't happen, then emergencies don't get answered and all sorts of stuff. So, huge weight on your shoulders.
It is.
Not to point that
It
out,
is.
but
But it's okay. I enjoy it.
yeah.
I like never knowing what to expect
How long have
every
you
day.
been? How long have you been at?
So I've been at Muscom going on 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I started as a dispatcher and then moved up to a shift supervisor and now the manager.
Yeah. So, what made you decide to be a dispatcher? Like, how'd that happen?
Well, I actually started my public safety career in EMS. I went to school to be an EMT and then a paramedic. And
Yep.
so I worked up in Chicago for a while on a private ambulance and for a suburban fire department and started having some medical issues and switched into the dispatch side of things. And
Yep.
here I am.
Here I am.
Here I am.
Thank goodness, because you're great at what you do. And I thought, I see your posts. I mean, obviously we're friends, so I've seen some of your posts both on MUSCOM and on your personal, Facebook page and social media and stuff. And I thought, what a great guest to have, because it's like you guys are literally like the people behind the phones, the faces that you might never see but are there in the scariest sometimes moments of our lives. And it just, well, first of all, I mean, I love the show 911. And I know it's not like legit, but it's still very exciting to see all of the, and I know it's probably not 100% accurate, but to see, I mean, even in that aspect, all the stuff that you guys are responsible for. But I mean, gosh, we need to talk about you guys more.
Yeah, we're often the forgotten first responders. We're
Yep.
the first to talk to anybody
Yep.
before police, ambulance, or fire. But
Yep.
yeah, I thoroughly enjoy what I do. It's amazing, and
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself doing anything different.
So at MUSCOM, you guys do the whole county, is that right?
Yes, we
Okay.
were combined 16 years ago now. The county and the city dispatch centers combined into
Yep.
one. So we do
Awesome.
the entire county, for all fire, law enforcement,
Everything.
ambulance.
Any emergency that you have,
Yes. I mean,
these
we
are the
also
folks
do
you're going to
medical
talk to.
examiners, some after hours like city and water departments and all that good stuff. But
Wow.
yeah,
Okay, so a while ago, I saw, I don't know whether it was on MUSCOM or whether I was just like online and saw it, but it was an image, and I think Jess is going to pull it up. It was about call if you can, but text if you can't. And I actually, at that point in time, I didn't even know that that was an option that you could. I mean, it makes total sense that you would be able to text the 911 operators in an emergency, but I didn't know that. So I thought that's definitely something that we should talk about today. And that's a thing that Muscatine can do as well.
yes, we actually, shortly after I took over as manager, we went live with all the major cell phone carriers to where we could accept text messages. And you just text 911 on your phone, just like you're sending a text. Fantastic tool that the state of Iowa rolled out, along
Yeah.
with the cell phone carriers. But with it, there's some caveats.
Yes.
It also can be a little, I don't want to say dangerous, but
Right.
people could misuse it like they do calling.
Yes.
So that's when the state came up with this call if you can, text if you can't.
Yep.
Obviously, a burglary in progress or something where a person may not be able to talk, maybe some domestic situations
Yep.
where they don't want to talk or have somebody with them know
Yep.
that they're calling 911. It's
Yep.
a fantastic resource
For those
folks.
In the right circumstance.
Yes,
It's great.
Yes, and so that's again why the state pushed out this call if you can, text if you can't.
Yeah.
Kind of to remember that little saying.
Yep.
We've had some uses of it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think the public's aware of it as
I don't
much
think
as
so
they
either.
should be. So we're trying to get that word out.
Yes, because there are, I mean, like you said, there are some really important times, some scary times that I can think of that it would be a really useful tool to people. Like you said, whether it's a domestic situation or, you're in your house, hiding in a closet because there's a burglary or something like that. And it would be really nice to be able to do that. But I was reading about it last night. I was kind of educating myself a little bit on it because I think it's interesting. But there were some things that I read, like that it's a little harder for location purposes when people do it. So what's that about? Is it that they can't ping it, or that people move, or?
Well, kind of both.
Okay.
So obviously, if you make a phone call, you're going to have that constant signal going through the tower where we could pick up a location. A text message is kind of an like instant done.
Yep.
So if you're moving or whatever the case may be, we may not pick up as good of a location.
So,
but that can be true if you call too. Sometimes, not to go into big cell phone how they work, but for instance here, if you have a tower that can accept 10 phone calls, and there's 10 people here that are trying to send a text or on the phone, you're going to bounce to the next closest available tower. So that's when things kind of get a little sketchy with how we can track you. And
But, okay, so that brings me to my next question, actually, because, I mean, I've never been in a real dispatch center, but on shows and stuff.
Well, you should come visit.
I want to come visit. Can I?
Come visit. Of course you can.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
Of course you
road
can.
trip.
Come
Muscatine
visit
Today
anytime.
Show road trip.
Let's do it.
It would be so fun. We're going to do that. But there's a lot of questions that get asked when you call. And I'm sure, like, in an emergency, thankfully, thank God, I've only had to call 911 like a couple times. And it was for things like I witnessed an accident and, was helping them or something like that. But in a situation where you're scared, it can be frustrating. Like, why are you asking me all these questions?
Yes.
But there are good reasons for that, right?
There are. So to start with, our medical, where all of our dispatchers are emergency, they have their EMD certification, which is Emergency Medical Dispatch.
Yep.
And so we have protocols that we follow that are signed off by our medical director, a physician. And so we have different situations. So for instance, if somebody's having chest pain, we may, based on answers to questions that we ask, we may instruct them to take aspirin before the ambulance gets there. Obviously, the quicker you can get that in your system, the better. So we ask those questions for a reason, because we're following those protocols that our physician has signed off on.
Yep.
As well as, other domestics and whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need to know who, what, where, when, why.
Yep.
We always usually ask about weapons. Obviously, that's a safety issue for officers. We don't want to send our officers into situations where there could be weapons. And then we always ask if anybody's intoxicated or under the influence of drugs. Again, a safety issue with officers or
something they need to be aware of going into the situation regardless.
We just need to paint a picture for those, our public safety team responding to what exactly is happening. So,
and plus, the more prepared that those, whether it be the EMTs or a fire department or the police officers, the more prepared they are, the more information you guys can give them, whether en route to the scene, the better, because they're prepared. They know what they need to take in right away. They know all of as many things as possible, and that's your job. So don't get mad, don't get frustrated. And when you're in a scary situation, and I came across this a lot when I worked at the hospital, where people would be very frustrated, and you're in a situation where people they're scared, or it's the worst day of their life.
Well, and I think there's also a misconception that, I'm asking you these questions, so help isn't getting sent to me. We have 3 people working at a time. So if you're talking to somebody on the phone, somebody else in the room has probably already sent help to you. So us asking questions
That's a good point.
Doesn't delay them responding to you at all.
Right.
We're just trying to gather the information before they get there.
So when you call 911 and they're asking you, as soon as you know a location or the situation, you're sending somebody, whether it's police or whoever, fire, depending on the situation.
If it's a high priority or yes.
You're sending someone, and the questions are more to paint a picture while they're on their way. It's not like, oh my gosh, they're still not sending help. We're having a conversation on the phone. And
think of it this way: if somebody attacks you, and they happen to get in a car and drive away, and the officers are coming and they pass that car on the way there, obviously they're going to give attention to that vehicle. If we don't tell them that or get that information, they're going to drive right by that car and not know. So again, we ask these questions for a reason.
So. Yeah, it's crazy to think about the situations that you guys are in without even actually physically being there. But the things that you guys, I'm sure, hear and help with on a regular basis is crazy.
It is. And I think the hardest part is a lot of times we don't get closure. Like officers or the ambulance crew, they take that patient to the hospital, and so they know what's happening. Once we hang up, we don't really know. We don't know what happened to anyone unless somebody from the ambulance comes and tells us. So you have to be able to deal with that. And
the other thing I always thought about is, as a dispatcher, you would have to really know the surroundings. You would have to really know how to help people pinpoint. If I'm in a location that I don't really know, I don't have an address. I'm not at my home where I can give you the address. Maybe I'm on a back road somewhere, or so people probably just give you oh, well, I'm by this or this, and so
sometimes we don't even get that.
Okay.
I mean, how often do you pay attention? If you're driving to Davenport and you're driving down 61 and something were to happen and you were to call and we say, where exactly are you? Well, I don't know. I'm driving to 61.
Most people are mile marker 23.
They don't pay attention.
Just
I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
You just drive to where you're going.
Yep.
But so sometimes we do have to get, what do you see around you? Oh, I see a blue house. I see this, and so you do have to be familiar with. And especially on the county, people a lot of times are, well, I'm 3 houses down from the Joneses, or
you're like, who's the Joneses? Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have lots of resources to use where we can try to locate people, but sometimes it may take a couple extra seconds. So.
So, it's amazing the stuff that you guys do in that building. I also saw something the other day that I think was posted on the MUSCOM social media. I really stalk you guys.
That's okay.
Apparently.
That's what it's there for.
That's what it's there for. I am a MUSCOM stalker.
And
apparently.
We probably don't use it as much as we should, but.
No, but I've gotten a lot of good information from it. So when we had the bad weather a few days ago, where it was icy and snow and all of that stuff was happening, I didn't even think about this, but some people call 911 to get road conditions. Is that a thing?
It is. It is. It is. And I'll tell you, we're stuck 2.5 stories below ground, and we don't have any windows, so
you're it's snowing? No.
We can't exactly see what's going on, and so most of the time we're going to check 511 and tell you what it says. So
what a great resource. 511, you can call.
You can call 511
and get road conditions. Or you can check their site, which is actually pretty good, because on that you can even see where the plows are at, right?
You can.
So, can you pull that up? Do you have that?
They actually have plow cameras now too, so you can it'll either have a live video or show you pictures of what the road looks like driving down from the dash of the plow.
That is a much better resource than what you guys are going to be able to tell them, I'm sure. But
not that we don't want you to call. We're obviously there to serve the public, but on snow days we get very busy with cars in the ditch. Obviously we have to check on those vehicles. We don't want people left out in the cold. We have accidents, and so to utilize those resources rather than calling us would be much appreciated. Because that's what we're checking anyway. And we're going to give you the information off of that anyway. So.
So you can check that online on any device. You can call if you're more familiar with that and that's more comfortable for you to ask about road conditions. But right now, being in the middle of winter, I think that's a good resource for everyone to know. it's going to be a better resource for you than 911 at that for weather. You know, for
it is.
How's Highway 61? You know, I'm getting ready to leave for work. This is a great resource, and the site is cool. You guys check it out sometime because you can, like you said, you can see where the plows are at, where they've been, what roads are clear, even the picture. You know, from their front view.
And if there's a tow ban issued by the state, that's also on there, so you can get that. There's lots of great information on there.
Wow. So that is definitely the resource that you should use when you're looking for those road conditions and things like that. It's going to be more helpful anyways, probably. So speaking of calls, I mean, you guys get all sorts of calls, whether they be weather related or emergencies, things like that. How many calls do you guys get? Like, I mean, I know you probably don't know the exact amount.
Well,
but
I actually looked last night.
Yep.
Last year we took just over 14,000 911 calls.
Okay.
And we had just over 60,000 administrative or non-emergency calls.
Okay.
So if you add all that up and divide it throughout the year, I came up with it was just around 202 to 210 calls that we take a day.
Yeah, on average.
And again, these are the non-emergency line as well, not just 911. So, I mean, it gets pretty hectic and busy.
And
you should use those other resources.
Yes. So, how many dispatchers? You said you have 3 at a time, most of the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have a couple people in training right now, so some days we're working with just 2.
Yep.
But then, of course, if it's during the day, I'm there as well. So I like to take every open dispatch shift I can because I kind of miss it. So I like to jump in there and help. Or you know, like I work New Year's Eve overnights all night.
Yep.
So
and those holidays, I'm sure they're harder to cover too. And you probably need more help even on those days. So
they are. So yes, there are some
take a lot of calls.
There are some days we work with 2 now.
Yep.
But usually we have 3.
Wow. Imagine getting, you know, for a second, you guys, imagine getting that number of calls that when you have people that are in emergency situations, people that are, you know, frantic and worried and need help. That's how many calls these people take, you know, every day. Some days are more than others. Obviously, that's an average number, but that's a crazy amount. So kudos.
Well, then you think of on top of that, you know, we had over 2 million radio transmissions last year. We also enter warrants and take care of all the NCIC entries for stolen articles, vehicles, all that stuff on top of all that. So we do attorney checks for the county attorneys. I mean, so there's an abundance of stuff to do on top of that. So okay, so I don't want to get into too many details. We'll have to have you back, but it's a lot of information. It is.
But so when you guys get a call and you need to dispatch the police, they all have computers in their cars. You can communicate that way.
They do.
Tell us the typical call. Like if it were, I know you're like, well, it could be anything.
There is no typical call.
That's true. That's not a thing. But okay, so for example, if I need a police officer sent to my home, like how does that happen? Do you guys just radio into the police department? I'm just so interested in this.
Typically, you know, we have one dispatcher who's going to answer the phone.
Yep.
And then one who's dispatching the units out to calls.
Yep.
So they're going to look at all their calls and obviously prioritize them. We have some calls who take precedence over, you know, like a parking problem and wait.
Yep.
And so the actual person dispatching it then would get on the radio, call the unit, and dispatch the call.
Yeah.
Depending on, yes, they have computers in their squad car. But obviously, if they're driving to a domestic or something, we want them to concentrate on the road, not the computer.
Yep.
So the dispatcher will keep giving them the updated information over the radio, so they don't have to look at the computer.
Yep.
Whereas if there's a truck parked down the street that hasn't moved in a month, you know, they may be able to take the time to actually read what's on the computer.
Yep.
So it kind of just depends. They have all the information there, but again.
Yep. Information while the person's on the call.
Yes. Yes. And so it all, like, you know, I'm typing it in on my computer at this console, and they can see it all real time
right next
over
to
there.
Yep.
So.
Wow. Super cool.
It is. Technology is amazing.
Make sure that you go back to your team and tell them how grateful we are. I know, like you said, I'm sure they don't get near as much attention and thanks as they should, but
I just want to throw it out there. I have an amazing team. We have an amazing team of dispatchers here in the county. Well, not just dispatch.
And I definitely want to come visit. That's super cool. I'll be like aisle cam for a second, and we'll get situated, and we'll be right back with What's in the Box, sponsored by Toyota. All right.
I'm kind of scared.
All right. Okay, so we are set and ready. Okay.
I just have a question first.
Yes.
Did you put the thing in the box, or did Chris?
This Chris put it in.
Okay, then we're good. Then
He
we're
did
good.
nothing
If it
wrong.
was you,
Yikes.
okay.
It's not going to bite you or
You're doing a
anything
great
like
job.
that. From what I know, it's not going to bite you. It's not alive. All of those things. We try, as in general, we try to keep those as standing rules, that it can't bite or be alive. But this is Toyota's What's in the Box. So this is what's going to happen, folks. Chris is going to put his hands, I better move this, into the box. You have to close your eyes, okay, before you do this, because you're going to pop open these doors so they can see what's in the box as you try to guess what's in the box. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. All right, have at it. Close your eyes, hands in, pop open those doors. His face. And then you have to try to decide what is in.
It's gooey.
It's gooey.
It's like a tub of sour cream or something.
Okay. Remember what today's National Day is?
Oh, is it whipped cream?
It is. Look at it.
Can I be like the kids in the video and lick my fingers now?
Yes!
No, I'm just-
You
I'm gonna
can
get
do
it
whatever
all
you
over.
want. Oh, it's fine. You can lick it if you want. You can if you want. Oh, sorry. Yep, we got a
Okay.
wet one for you. I like to. I mean, it was fun. I mean,
It was.
It was.
It wasn't as scary as I thought.
it wasn't
was gonna
alive. So I mean, that's a win. That's a win for sure. Thank you for being a trooper. That was Toyota's What's in the Box. And like I've said, I say this all the time, but without our sponsors like Toyota and CBI and Lutheran Living and of course Hy-Vee with the Market Grille Express Studios, we wouldn't be able to have great people like you on the show to share like really important news, really important stuff. I think I hope all of you take away something, a new piece of information from today, and we'll have you back on again because there's so much more we could talk about when it comes to calling 911 and what to expect, and it's important. Just remember your surroundings. You know, we do, like you said, we live. We just kind of go where we're going and don't pay attention a lot of times, but those are important details when you get into an emergency situation.
I forgot one more thing that I
Yes.
wanted to mention.
Yes.
So old cell phones.
Oh.
If you have old cell phones that you let your kids play with, they can still call 911.
Oh, yes.
You're going to let them play with them. Take out the battery, please.
Yes. Get a lot of
Even though
children
they're not
calling.
active.
The other thing I read, one more thing, sorry, is it was when I was doing research and stuff last night for today's interview, it was about when you accidentally call 911 and then they hang up right away. It's better to you're not going to get in trouble.
Nope.
Just stay on the line and say, I'm really sorry, I accidentally dialed this, or I pushed my SOS, or whatever
Yes,
it
we would
was.
appreciate that too. We get that a lot with Apple Watches.
Yes.
I was
Even
trying
when
to
you're
set my
turning
Apple
off,
Watch, or I
and you're
bumped.
turning off your phone, and it's like right there too. So
Just stay on the line.
Yeah,
just tell us
stay
it
on
was
the
an
line.
accident.
That way you don't have to guess
Yes,
or try to call
yes.
back, or because who knows? I mean, in an emergency, what if they got cut off? You wouldn't know that. So,
Right. Yep.
So that was another important thing. There's so much more. So we'll have to
There
have you
is.
back on to chat more. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
and
me. I appreciate it.
for doing such a good job at the social media and putting out information to all of us, because it's important information to have for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And I really hope that I get to visit and see what it's like. But in the meantime, I want to end the show by talking a little bit about Hy-Vee. Right now, it should be landing in your mailboxes today, maybe tomorrow for some folks, but on the back of your Discover Muscatine newspaper, you will find the new local Hy-Vee ad, and it is focused a lot on, the top half obviously isn't, but the whole bottom half is about pharmacy and switching over. I think she's going to pull it up. This is a promotion that has been extended for Hy-Vee, and transfer your scripts to Hy-Vee, which I can't say enough great things about Hy-Vee pharmacy, and there are 3 things that you could get for transferring. So those will be on the back of your Discover Muscatine newspaper that will be landing today. So if you have a pharmacy somewhere else and you're interested in transferring those scripts, do that. And this promotion has been extended so that you get a lot of other really cool things for transferring those, as well as some really great service from all of the pharmacy department here at Hy-Vee 2nd Ave and down on Main Street. So thank you so much for joining the show today. It was fun. I'm so glad that we had such a cool guest, and I'll make sure to bring him back so we can pick at his brain a little bit more and ask all the other questions that we have a brewing. If you guys have a question for him, let me know in the comments, and we will most definitely get that information. Or write a little thank you to your dispatchers in the comments section, and I would be happy to share that with them as well. Thank you so much for joining. Remember until tomorrow that kindness is free, so spread that stuff wherever you go.
TJ Deere here at Toyota Muscatine, and this is what it feels like to have a brand new Toyota.
It's the new car smell.
It's the new stories.
It's the new adventure. It's the memories.
Come and see us for your 2020 Toyota.